guys, and welcome back to my channel. I'm really happy that you are here again, and now we can start creating. Let's go. So as usual, I start with a draft sketch. I just try to draw more or less simple forms like a circle or squares, and then I draw the objects: tomatoes, avocados, eggs. Well, as you can see, the eggs and the bean and corn mixture are not really as detailed, I would say. So there are no any objects inside these big forms. I do it on the stage when I work on an actual sketch. After I'm done with my draft sketch, I change the opacity and I put it on around 50% or even less, and then I create a new layer and take the color I would like to use, and I use my sketch brush. There are two brushes, sketch 1 and sketch, so I use the sketch brush and start drawing the actual objects. That's where I will also draw the detailed version of the eggs and the bean and corn mixture. So right now I just draw the actual objects, as I've already said. Try not to be perfect at this point. This is an illustration. We're not trying to create a realistic object, so just be as fast as you can, but still don't forget and don't miss the most important features of the objects. Like tomatoes are round, so just keep it in mind, and please don't be perfect. The less perfect you are, the more artistic illustration you will get. What is very important, do not forget about the thickness of the plate. This is a very common mistake, but remember, the plate has its thickness and it's very important to show it. So after I'm done with the sketch, what I do, I create a new layer and I put it under the layer with our sketch. So this is very important. Otherwise, if you leave the layer above all the layers and you start coloring the illustration, then the color will hide the sketch. So that's not what we want. So put this layer underneath the sketch. So when we draw, then the color will appear under the sketch and we will still have those beautiful imperfect lines. By coloring, I start off with filling the forms with a basic color. In this case, we're drawing an avocado and it's green, so I put the basic green and I erase everything what I don't need. And then I start highlighting and put other colors. It's important not to be perfect, but it's important to catch all those features of the objects. Now I'm working on the bean and corn mixture, and I do really love this part because, I mean, as you can see on the reference photo, it's very, very detailed. But what I do, I create two separate layers, the layer with the beans and the layer with the corns. So what I do here, I put the shadows, but I don't try to be very detailed. So I just put the darker color there where I think, well, it might look good here, and I just put it as fast as I can, and I usually use an even darker color to give it more depth, and I draw even more shadows as fast as I can, and then I work with the corns, and that's what I do here as well, just using the darker color to give the corns the depth and to create a dimension for them. So after I'm done with that, I work with the highlights. For the beans, I use a color which is lighter than the basic color. Remember, don't put white, as it's not going to make your illustration vivid and colorful. Use a lighter color, but not too light. If you think, well, okay, it's not that dimensional as I wanted it to be, then of course use an even lighter color. So it will give your illustration even more dimension in this case. But try to avoid white color. That's how I draw my illustrations, and it helps me a lot. I used to draw the shadows with the gray color and the highlights with the white color, and well, that's not what you want to draw, believe me. Here is something interesting what I do. I go to the layer with the beans and I choose the yellow color and I draw the reflections of the corns on the beans. So it makes my illustration look even more artistic. It's vivid, it has some life in it, and well, I just like it. Now onto the eggs. What I do here, as you can see, we've already colored almost all the parts, the mixture, the tomato, the avocado. I create a basic color for the eggs, warm yellow with an orange undertone. tone, what I do, I put this layer underneath the layer number 6 and 5 so that I don't have to waste time on erasing unnecessary parts. So where I have to erase is the part next to the plate. And again, as usual, what I do is creating the shadows and creating highlights with darker tones and with lighter tones. I again don't go into the grays of this particular color, but I use the saturation technique. Well, I mean, I call it so. I just choose the yellow and then I go to the left where we've got orange and red, and I just make those colors even more vivid and I use them as the shadow. And please never ever forget where the light comes from. So remember to compare your illustration with the reference photo so it's clear for you where to draw the shadow and where to draw the highlight. Of course, if you don't have any reference photo, then choose just one source of the light and stick on it. So don't draw the shadows on the left side and then on the right side. That's not how it works. If the light comes from the right, then the shadow will be on the left side. That's how it works most of the time. What I also love about drawing my illustrations, I like adding the reflections. So in this case, I choose red and put it on the layer with the axe and with avocados. So this way I show the reflection of the tomatoes on other ingredients. And the same I do with a mixture of beans and corns. I choose violet tone and I use it on the eggs. After I'm done with everything, I start drawing the plate. This is the white plate, and what you have to know about white color is never white, simply never. You can't just draw white plate being white. You have to use several gray tones to give this plate structure, texture and depth and dimension. And don't forget that the shadows of the ingredients are also never ever gray. I mean, you can look at the reference photo and you can say, well, just look at it, I see they're gray, dark gray, or even black. But if you compare these shadows to the actual grays, then you'll see that these shadows are never ever gray. Well, most of the time. And what I do, I saturate the colors even more. So I don't choose grayish colors of particular tones. I just use clear color like yellow, violet, green, and red and create some artistic effect. That's how I usually do it. And I think the illustration this way looks much more vivid. So the illustration is, so to say, ready. Before finishing it, I create a new layer above all the other layers and I choose the white color now, really white. And I choose this sketch brush and I go above all the ingredients where I need the highlight. So I highlight with little strokes, but only in those spots where I need the light. It's very easy to overdo the highlight, so be careful on that. That's it for this illustration. I hope you liked it, and if so, click the subscribe button for further videos and let me know what you think, or if you've got some questions, just let me know in the comments down below. I'm really happy to help you out, and well, maybe you've got some ideas for the future videos. Just let me know. Have a nice day. Bye.